and today we've got a reading for you about somebody who might be a little bit overly confident on how they're coming through or how they're seen at the office. We have the Sun and the Hierophant, and it looks to me like we have maybe like a didn't know you were in the hallway, or I didn't know you were actually sitting at your desk. Maybe your feet are up on the table and they did the little check and they felt like no one was back there. But there's someone here who overhears a conversation from the boss, and the boss is saying something not so complimentary, maybe even hinting that somebody could be losing their job, or talking about a sensitive situation where someone was written up. And now we have whoever is the Sun, the person who's overhearing this conversation, they're kind of shocked to hear that someone who may have a pretty strong reputation has been caught up in some drama that may actually shorten their career at this place. So let's call in spirit with a little bit of wind chime time, or a lot, sorry. I hope you're having a good day so far. If you're interested in a personal reading, I would love to do one for you. My email address is wickedonestarot@gmail.com. It's in the description box for you, as is more information on how to become a member. If you are a member in the Stars or Towers, I did just do the members only live stream, so be sure to check that out. Hello, James. Hello, Stephen. Hello, Joaquin. And thank you to those of you that have checked out my new Etsy site with my soy candles. That's in the description box as well. I think we will start with the Golden Art Nouveau. Let's see what else we've got about this angry boss who is talking about someone without really checking to make sure nobody else can hear, or at least not doing enough of a check, I suppose. Hello, Rachel. How's it going? What else do we have? We have the Knight of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles. So slow progress and maybe disappointment in terms of hitting a deadline. Now, these are not necessarily negative cards. They also, well, I would say they both have a way of being read quite positively as far as somebody investing or working towards a common goal. But I feel like with the Six of Pentacles, we have someone, the boss, commenting on how much someone is paid. Like, okay, if I pay this person $150,000 a year to do X, Y, Z, and they're only doing X, I'm gonna feel a little bit like I didn't get what I paid for. So I feel like this is frustration over delivery, you know? How much have you actually been able to impact, or how much have you closed? How many people have you hired? Whatever it is, it feels to me like we've got someone who hasn't hit the goals that were identified, or like the job description itself, right? So with the Nine of Wands in the reverse, there is somebody here who is not necessarily well reviewed. They are in a precarious spot regarding their job security. We've got the Three of Pentacles in the reverse. I think this is somebody who's about to get fired. Five of Cups. They may have kind of wasted their time on things that were not important. If you were trying to sell a house and there were a number of things that needed to be fixed or like spruced up before it went on the market, people are going to be pretty quick to spend money on things that you can see the visual difference, right? Like, okay, that's a brand new faucet, that's a brand new refrigerator, that's great. I feel like this is someone who felt like they needed to focus on the more like basic things, so it's not very showy. And as a result, this boss is like, well, you didn't do anything. Oh, you upgraded it from, what is it, knob and tube wiring? Well, no one can tell, so all that money that you spent, it's worthless. It's not, right? Because you're still saving people from some potential headaches there. But we have someone who maybe invested in the wrong things, or was focused on the wrong objectives and failed on something else that was super important to this boss. So I feel like they are pretty obsessed with, you said you could do this and you didn't. I said I would pay you this for you to do that, and you didn't do that. You only did like half of that, or 1/3. And we've got 2 5s in a row, 5 of Swords, 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, I think this person ends up getting fired. I do feel like there could also be, you know, team member or another leader that made it impossible for this employee to do quite well. Someone who maybe left a mess before they got fired or quit. Someone who was not working in good faith with this department or kind of wanted this new person to fail. Hello, OJ. How are you doing? So we have the Ace of Cups in the reverse with the Hermit in the reverse. Strength and the Sun. So what are we overhearing? We've got someone who's basically saying, I'm going to have to fire this person because it doesn't seem like they know what they're doing and they haven't done anything regarding these two things that we talked about being a priority. So I feel like it's probably time for me to just let this person go. But we've got Strength and the Sun coming out, which is interesting because I feel like there is some other information sharing, right? We have someone who's eavesdropping and happens to catch the boss bad-mouthing somebody. But I feel like this is somebody who's meant to hear this conversation because they know that the boss is wrong. What? The boss? The boss is never wrong. The boss is always right. I thought it was the customer, Carmen. No. It's the boss. I feel like we have somebody who's going to say, look, I know you really feel like so-and-so has not delivered or they haven't met this objective or that objective, but have you considered this thing that made it impossible for them, you know? Like, well, you know, they didn't get this one thing delivered by the deadline. And somebody's like, well, we had a major ice storm. Probably impacted it. You know, there's some sort of like logic or basic understanding that somebody is like, yes, but this is why somebody couldn't do that thing. I think we might have a boss who's a little bit unrealistic or unreasonable in their expectations. So they might be a little bit of a clown. They might be a little bit too focused on numbers as opposed to actually understanding their business. But Carmen, if I have the numbers on my business, doesn't that mean I understand it? Yes, but just like when you're having a conversation with a person, if they say 3 sentences, they might actually be communicating 5 sentences and you have to fill in the context there or the gaps. So too do you have to do that with business. Here are the numbers, here are the facts. What can we deduce from those numbers when we understand the environment in which those numbers were created, right, or produced? This is somebody who's just like, yeah, but you didn't have a year over year of 200, so you're fired. That's what they sound like. Hello, OJ. Do you mean for personal questions? Hello, Lemonade. How's your day going? Yes, I agree. So we have unconditional love, genuine certain love, and past happened. Okay. So it kind of seems to me like we've got someone who is taking their personal life out on a colleague. Is this really somebody who's like brokenhearted, so they feel like they should go to work and fire someone? Okay. Wow, this is an interesting start to the story here, you guys. I think we have somebody who is legit getting kicked out of their like marital home. Someone who is a C-suite executive or like the owner of the company, they're getting kicked out, okay? They have a not great situation regarding their marriage or their relationship. And as a result, they're over here like, who can I pick on? It's not a great way to deal with negative energy. Like, go to the gym. Go dance like an idiot in the street. I don't know. But you don't need to be attacking somebody else. And I feel like that's the way they're choosing to handle this. Like, okay, well, since this is a problem or since, you know, I'm in a bad mood, I'm going to have to find somebody to make feel bad. Yeah, I agree. Yep. It's not a good approach. Wow, we have another sun coming out. That was the last card I drew from the previous tarot deck. And also the first one from the first 2 that I pulled. And another hermit in the reverse. Wow, this person is Ugh. So they're upset at themselves and they feel like they need to take that anger out on somebody else. So here's what success would look like if you had done what you said you would do, but you haven't made that happen. So now I'm feeling like perhaps there needs to be some consequences here. If you haven't been able to achieve what I was looking to achieve, then I might have to hire someone else, or we might need to part ways. This is someone who's being unreasonable, though. All right, so we have Ace of Cups and Death. This Strength individual could be a fire sign because we had Strength next to the Sun. So that would be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. I feel like this person is, I just want to say, like, admirable. Like, this is someone who's going to be like, you know what? Most people would probably not say anything. Most people would probably be like, I don't want to, like, start any problems for myself. But you know what? I'm going to stick up for this person. I know you want to fire this individual, or I know you're probably disappointed with the findings or the reporting from, you know, like the last quarter or whatever. But here's what I think is important to consider regarding this person's performance, or I want it to be clear that this person was the most effective leader that I've seen at this company or in this department for a long time. Here's what I noticed while working with this person. It's like I'm doing a, you know, work reference without being asked. Like, you didn't ask me what my opinion is, but I'm going to tell you right now that this person that you've hired into this role, they've been doing well. So then they get put in a difficult spot, right? But I was really in a mood to fire somebody. I'm in a bad mood and I want somebody to be also in a bad mood with me. So now what do I do? If this person's right and I can't fire this person. Okay, so the boss is looking for a fight. I don't know if they listen. I think they disregard this advice. I think they're like, whatever. We'll hire somebody else just like them. It's no big deal. Probably for like less money per hour too. Hello, Key Controller. Hello, James. Hello, how's it going, Madame? Hello, Stephen. Hello, Renee. How are you doing? Hello, Henry. Oh, blessings to you also. Yes, I agree. Hello, CJ. So this is someone who thinks this is not a big deal. This is not an important person to the company structure. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and fire them anyway. We don't need anybody to like manage customer operations. What do you mean? We don't need anybody to manage like new software version rollouts. Everything will be fine. I'm sure that like all of the first level testing will be accurate and enough. Can you tell I've worked in technology? Look, man, I don't even want to tell you how old my software is on my phone. That's how much I don't like software updates. Or at least like let it like simmer a little bit, right? Like, did you guys figure it out yet? Okay, cool. Now I'll download it. So we've got someone who feels like they can do without this new hire or this leader who hasn't really shown the year over year, or the specific goals that they had laid out for them have not been achieved. This is just somebody who's in a bad mood. Like, I want to kick somebody, but I can't because that's like assault or whatever. So I guess I'll just fire someone. Okay. Do you also throw like Dr. Pepper on the floor, which would break my heart? Don't break my heart, my Dr. Pepper heart. Yeah, I don't like this boss, okay? Just gonna say it. I don't like them because they are upset. They've had some sort of like, oh, I guess I'm getting a divorce, or oh, I guess I need to like go find my own place to live. What did I roll over? Oh no. They're taking it out on someone else. Who should I fire? That one works. Yes, exactly. Hey, Redbeard, how you doing today? Is that the part where he goes, really high pitched, like. All right, we've got the Nine of Wands in the reverse. I'm feeling rejected, so I've got to make someone feel small. I don't like how I feel. Someone broke my heart, so I want to, like, lash out. This is probably why some people shouldn't be business owners. You know, if you can't separate the personal from the professional and, like, not take your anger to the workplace, you know, I don't know, have, like, a garden or a tree farm instead. Then you don't have to deal with people. But I'm telling you, this is somebody who's been dumped. This is somebody who is... like their spouse filed for divorce, or someone's kicking them out, or someone moved on their own volition, didn't tell them. But this person's heartbroken. This person's feeling rejected. So they want to like make someone else's day difficult. Ace of Wands, Three of Wands in the reverse. And the person that they decide is going to be like the sacrificial lamb is someone who is actually quite effective at the company. So when this person gets fired, or when there is this, you know, uncomfortable conversation, maybe they end up quitting instead. You know, like, if you don't think I'm a good fit for this, you know, I can probably like see myself out. There's a loss here. Six of Pentacles in the reverse. Okay. If you feel like it's not a good fit, then I guess I will be on my merry way. I guess I will go elsewhere, or, you know, I wish you luck, and I hope you achieve those things that we weren't able to achieve in 3 weeks, or whatever it might be, you know? Judgment and the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse. The problem is we have the Hierophant here, the boss, is a little bit confused as to who holds the cards, who holds the power in this situation. They might feel like the employee needs them more than the company needs the employee, but they're about to find out that they need the employee more. That firing this person was a horrible idea. That it might actually lead to less money coming in because there's nobody making sure whatever it is, right? Customer operations, I don't know, is going smoothly. Like, they should have probably anticipated some sort of problem that might arise if this person was no longer there to troubleshoot, problem solve. That's what it is. Three of Cups, King of Swords in the reverse, and the Queen of Swords in the reverse. Oh no. Okay, so I don't know how many of you have been in a corporate situation where a key player, a key element in the team leaves unexpectedly, and you have some major like sales presentation, or major like, we got to get this reporting done, or there's like a build, right? We got to do some custom software. There's something here where it's like, oh, I think it's all fun and games. I can fire this person, makes me feel better about the fact that I've been rejected. But I forgot to think about how in 2 weeks, we actually had a major presentation planned, and this person was instrumental to closing that deal, or to getting this project over, you know, across the deadline, or across the finish line. This is like, oh no, I didn't think about that. I'm actually going to have no success whatsoever in managing that conversation or that client without this person who I fired, without their help. And Five of Pentacles in the reverse, Queen of Cups. I feel like they were told this. Well, if you fire Tim, you know, who's going to manage the lobster account? Sorry, it's just because dude kind of looks like a lobster. Yeah, you know, how are you going to manage that particular rollout? Or how are you going to deal with that launch? How are you going to make sure that there's an effective presentation at that conference? It's like, oops. I guess in my haze of anger and frustration and need to take it out on some innocent bystander, I kind of forgot that I need that employee. I kind of forgot that that person was actually really important, or that I hired them for a reason, you know? Hello, Matt. Hello, Holy Ghost. How's it going? Are we talking about waffle butt? Oh, that's funny. Hello, Eric. How are you doing? Of course, your essential red beard, mostly for jokes. So we've got the Six of Swords in the reverse and the Six of Cups in the reverse. Minimizing the impact somebody has on the company's overall success and being a little bit arrogant in terms of, we got this, we can do this on our own, has left somebody basically realizing they're probably going to lose a major client or lose a major function of this company, and it's stressful. How many people out there have been called to come back to a job they've been fired or laid off from? Oh, hey, how's it going? I know it's been a long time since I fired you a couple weeks ago, but I've since realized that I do actually have some money laying around for you, and I desperately need your help. Can you please come back? Like tomorrow. That's what's going on here. Can you please come back? We really need your help for this presentation. Oh, I don't know about that. Look, if I were in this situation and somebody's like, we desperately need you to come back in order to make sure that we don't lose this client, I'd be like, oh, that's wonderful. Here's my hourly contractor's role, pay, requirements. Here are the hours that I'm willing to be of assistance to you. It's only part-time, of course. And also, you're going to always have to refer to me as... So I try to make some joke about being like smarter than them, but I don't know, man. It's like you have so much power in this situation when they're like, oh, I actually can't run my business without you. Or I end up risking a significant chunk of revenue. And I didn't know that until now. Can we fix this? Would you like to come back? Maybe some of you are going to be like, no. Some of you might be this strength individual, the person who's like, hey, seems like you might want to fire somebody who's really important to this company, and I might want to just caution you on that. You might be the person who kind of like whistleblows, right? Like, hey, excuse me, I know you're really comfortable with that like big mouthpiece over there and you like telling people how it is. But just curious if you knew that that person's actually really important. No, okay. So this person might be kind of like due for a little bit of karma or a difficult lesson, because this is not as easy or basic as they initially thought. And for them to take their personal frustrations out on a coworker just so that they can feel good about themselves, I guess they kind of need a little bit of a wake-up call, right? A little bit of a reality check. Okay. So remember we had the sold card, somebody who was probably kicked out of a house or told that they needed to find their own place because of a relationship ending. We could also have some financial issues or default on payments, or someone who feels like they can't afford to find a place on their own. This could also be part of why they're firing someone, because if this is the owner of the company and they're like, gosh, you know, I understand why I hired you and why I pay you $150,000 a year, but that amount of money would actually save me from not having a place to live. So I'm just going to fire you and it'll be all right. They did something here that was like a knee-jerk reaction, or the intention was way wrong. That's why I feel like they're just being served up with a bunch of failures right in a row. Client being upset with them, issues as far as finances, maybe even legal issues. And this is because they were not taking seriously what they were doing to somebody else. It was all fun and games when they were firing someone for like the wrong reason, right? Yes, exactly. Professional side. So we have karmics and liftoff. So the boss here was a hater. They're learning a lesson that you can't take out your frustrations in your personal life out on the people that you need to operate your business. And that if you show that you don't value an important employee, It's pretty understandable when they decide to get out of there, and also pretty understandable when they're able to quickly find another job because they are quite talented. So I do think this is someone who, even though they may be fired, even though they may have had kind of a disappointing conclusion with this, it feels like they're going to get a rather quick turnaround on a job offer and land in a better environment where they don't have to worry about the like mood swings of the owner. So it's like, okay, you know what? I was going to have to start looking for a new job anyways because like you don't know how to run a business. Don't fire people without knowing what kind of impact that's going to have on your business. I don't know. SOS. Distress. Act with urgency. Assistance needed. Yeah. Calling you up after they've fired you, saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It turns out you're the only one who knows the password. You're the only one who this client wants to talk to. And, you know, I know that maybe I undervalued what you bring to the table or the expertise or the, you know, experience that you have. But ooh, I'm sorry. It's like they feel like they need to humble themselves in front of you in order to convince you that they've learned a lesson. I do feel like they've learned a lesson, but I feel like they still need to learn some more. So it might be one of those things where you're just kind of like, hey, you know what? Things happen. No hard feelings, but I am going to probably stay at this new company. I don't get out of bed for less than $10. I feel like there's a joke I could make here. But I will be quiet and respectful. See how easy it is? So we have the Thief card. My. Occupation. High honor. So you didn't want to pay me what I was worth, or you didn't value the contributions I brought to the company. You wanted to claim that I wasn't satisfying the, you know, role that you hired me to take care of. But when you ask the others around me, they were all saying, no, this person's like working as a team. They've made some significant changes. Maybe they haven't paid off right now, but they're going to. Or they were really important and had been ignored by people previously. So despite being quite confident, like, oh, everything's going to be just fine if I fire this person, we can handle it ourselves, now they're realizing it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. And the whole reason this thing happened is because someone over here is thinking about how they got dumped. Ooh, my heart is broken. You're fired. Ooh, that's them. Journey and change. So I'm in a horrible mood because I have to move to some other place. I have to pay for an apartment and, you know, my money's not really looking great. So I'll fire you and then I get to keep that money. Maybe that'll get me a place to stay. But we do have a potential lawsuit here as far as whether or not it was an illegal firing. And we do have people that are standing up for this person or who are willing to speak out against the boss or the company. So this might be a little bit more complicated than the Hierophant expected. Yeah. Hello, Asmi, how are you doing? Ooh, I'm sorry you're going through that. What else? We've got the Thinking Woman. And the 5th chakra, Archangel Gabriel. So this individual who is not a great boss and has taken out their anger over a breakup on someone that works for them or works with them, they're not going to see success where they are. They might contribute to a significant like market share loss or a really big like PR issue. This is not somebody you really want to tie your success to. Not a good wagon hitch situation. Wagon hitch stitch. So you're being protected. Maybe more than you. This person's getting caught up in a problem because they should not have been able to take out their anger on whoever they felt like. So this could be pretty problematic for the company if there is a lawsuit for wrongful termination, especially if this person in anger said something about the real motivation being, I don't know, I'm in a bad mood and you don't look right to me, you know? We have door to personal healing and happiness. So we have someone finding a much better job situation or a much better boss at the very least. And someone who was not a very good boss having some consequences. Either they're not making the money that they should, they might lose a big client, or there might be actual like lawsuit, legal consequences for how they approached this situation, which was clearly unfair. Did I say hello to Steven? I think I did. What else do we have? 8 of Pentacles in the reverse, 6 of Cups in the reverse, 5 of Cups in the reverse, and the 2 of Wands. Yeah, I think that there is proof, or because someone was overhearing what the Hierophant said, maybe heard the angry call with the former spouse. There is a clear way to prove that this wasn't a fair termination. It was really just about somebody who's going through a breakup. There's so many better ways to deal with that, you know? I don't know, go like get a punching bag. We have the Moon. I feel like this is somebody who felt like they could keep secret the real reason that they lost their temper or decided to fire someone, but because they were overheard, or, you know, because someone was eavesdropping and heard what they said, it's like, no, you can't reframe this. We know what really happened here, and it's time for you to just like kind of accept it and move on and admit that that wasn't the right thing for you to do. I think if this is a lawsuit, someone ends up getting paid for that wrongful termination. And it could be a pretty significant setback for this, what are we calling you? The Hierophant? That seems way too complimentary. Yeah, there's just this, you can't really do that. It could be evening of the score because competition hires this person and they start to do really well, maybe even steal some of the clients from the Hierophant. But there is definitely a lesson being learned here. You cannot operate like that and just, you know, try to be a jerk to others that you work with because you got broken up with. So hopefully a lesson learned here. Hello, Barbie. How are you doing? All right, I'm going to leave it there. I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subscribes. And I'll see you in the next reading. Doodles.